Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I write over at Cruising with Kids, Cruising for All, and Mini Travellers, sharing content on cruising and travelling with kids.
Today, Sarah, what we thought we'd do is I am once again, in a surprise to very few people, back on board Virgin Voyages. So weirdly, I'm doing the same itinerary I did at the beginning of the year in May, but I'm doing a slight adjustment to it. So in May, I did the Irresistible Med. Now I'm doing the Irresistible Med and Rome. So one of the ports, Ajaccio, typically gets swapped out for Rome instead. So we picked this itinerary purposely because we've never been to Rome before, and we thought it'd be a great chance to kind of explore Rome. And boy, have we had an adventure.
So where do we... I don't know whether to have my glasses on or off. I can't see you. Where do we start?
Yeah, well, it's a funny one, this one, really, because we purposely booked it to do Rome, and I always wanted to kind of go to Rome, but I'm not convinced this summer that I would probably spend a long weekend at, because I'm not a fan of city breaks. That's why I think I like cruising so much. I get to kind of go on city breaks without having to deal with the hassle of actually going into a city, because I get really irritable about like busy streets and things like that. The positive side is Rome is incredible. I'm so glad I finally actually came to go. We challenged ourselves to see as many sites as possible in the limited amount of time that we had in Rome. However, down to like a cascading number of problems that have happened on this voyage, our time in Rome was diminished, and then we pretty much almost missed the ship coming home, down to, again, a cascading collapse of the rail system here in Italy when we were there. It's just been one of those, I'm not convinced I'd do this again.
Right. So let's go back. So you sailed from Barcelona, because there's a story there as well, isn't there? So first of all, where did you stay? Because all of these things I think are interesting to people if they're going to book a cruise. Where do you stay before? What do you do? So start there.
So typically when we stay in Barcelona, we tend to book kind of a reasonably like a 3-star-ish hotel, because it's always a pre-cruise stay, and typically our flight from Bristol, gets in quite late in the day. So it's one of them, let's not spend a fortune on a hotel. There's just no point. This time we flew in super early. We were in Barcelona before 11, basically. So we decided to kind of splurge a little bit, and we treated ourselves to the H10 Marina, which is a lovely hotel. It's right near, and I can't remember the name of the park. I'm so bad, I'll have to research it. But the big park basically down by the waterfront in the marina area of Barcelona. So it's really kind of great location for that. Really nice hotel, great service, great cocktails type of thing. I don't think it's the most centrally located, but it's a short walk to kind of the metro system if you wanted to kind of go off and get the metro and explore kind of the wider Barcelona area if you wanted to. So that's definitely great and handy. And in hindsight, the walking around Barcelona, which is probably my biggest learning this trip, by the accident we'll get to in a second, we ended up walking basically from Park Güell, I can never pronounce it, the Guell, the Gaudi Park. We ended up walking from there back to our hotel, and technically it took us about an hour, which is a long walk. I'm not saying it's not. But where we broke that up with other sightseeing, so we stopped off and went to Sagrada Familia, we saw a few other sites along the way. It was actually quite a pleasant walk to walk back, and I actually think it was better than taking the metro personally, but it's a lot of walking.
Yeah, I like to walk and see stuff. I'd do that over getting public transport any day, just because we can stop for a drink, can't you? Cocktail or coffee, and see more.
I think that's the thing, and you do see more.
So what did you plan in while you was in Barcelona?
Well, the big plan was to do Park Güell, and that was like the bucket list, because I've been to Barcelona so many times and we're never in early enough to see it. We've always had time to pop and see Sagrada Familia. We've had time to kind of explore the parks. That's only like a couple of hours type of thing. But because the perception, at least anyway, was Park Güell was so far away, it was like, we have to do it. And just down to how incredibly busy we were, I put very little thought or research into it. I just knew it was north of the main part of the town type of thing, and that was it. So naively thinking, it's just a park. Surely it's got to be super easy to get into. And after having a meltdown on the metro because we got the wrong way and we got lost, it being very hot and sweaty and bothered and trying to get a coffee and just being really bad planners, we got all the way to Park Güell to find out that it is ticketed and it's completely sold out, and it's sold out for the next week. So there was no way on earth we were going to get into Park Güell, and I had a bit of a mini like breakdown just because after having a really stressful time trying to find it, get to it, just is a really bad travel agent thing of just not planning ahead, just assuming it's a city, it's going to be really easy to get the train there and just rock up and enjoy it. But I've learned the hard way, I have to do more research into Barcelona. All the main attractions, if you want to go inside Sagrada Familia, if you want to do Park Güell, you have to book them in advance. This day and age, the days are gone where you can rock up to these major landmarks like the Eiffel Tower and all this type of stuff now and just turn up on the day. You have to book in advance, and we are the worst planners, so it's our own fault. We just need to be better at planning ahead.
I mean, obviously, you know that because I'm in Barcelona in 2 weeks, and you also know that me and Donna are like massive planners. So we've booked Gaudi's house. I've got the map, the walking route map in my cruise app, my cruise planner, which is if you want a really good cruise planner, it's on Cruising with Kids, and you just download it. And what all you do is you upload it to Good Notes, and then all I've got to do is go walking route, and I've got a map. It's planned to that level of accuracy for that reason, because I hate turning up somewhere and you can't do it. And that's happened to us at Sagrada. So, and
I definitely had like a major breakdown when we got to the park and just saw how busy it was. And it definitely kind of hit me hard. It was very hot. It was very muggy. Obviously a little bit tired because we had an early morning flight that day, which we don't normally do. We tend to fly kind of midday-ish. And I definitely had a bit of an adult tantrum in the middle of the park type of thing. Like phone signal wasn't working, so we couldn't research when the next tickets were available. We couldn't work out how to get back to the hotel. It was just one of those complete like, I don't take my own advice. I'm so bad for it. I don't take my own advice when it comes to kind of doing city breaks. And this is part of the reason why I'm not keen on city breaks, because I'm not a pre-planner. I like to go with the flow and a bit of a free spirit type of person. And yeah, really, really bad pre-planning on my part. And lesson learned. Luckily, a lot of ships sail from Barcelona, so I'm pretty sure we'll be back again someday, and I'll get tickets in advance next time. But yeah, a bit disappointed that we went out of our way to arrive early, and it was a waste of the day, really, because we didn't get to do anything we planned to.
I think that's how we ended up really good friends, isn't it? Because when we were on that last trip, Donna had everything planned every day. She had a full itinerary, so you just followed. You feel like, yeah, we'll come. Yeah.
But then all the good places turn up and follow up.
Yeah. So, did you board late? How does the boarding work with Virgin?
So typically boarding with Virgin is quite strict. So boarding happens quite later. So I think the first slot is 1:30, and that's typically reserved for rock stars. So Virgin's version of suite class. So all the rock stars get to go on first, and then boarding starts for general sailors after that point. There are a few ways you can jump the queue. The main one to pay for, at least anyway, is buying the Splash of Romance package, which is, I think it's just recently gone up. I know the pounds price, but I believe it's $250 now. And basically it's like a number of extras. Basically you get like a spa pass for the day, you get a bottle of Moet, you get little treats in your cabin. There's other stuff that I can't remember. But the big one is you get priority boarding. So you get to be the second people to get on the ship. The other way to get priority boarding is what we have. We have what Virgin called Deep Blue Extras. So as part of their Sailor Club loyalty club, we're at the top level of it now. So we get priority boarding onto the ship. So we get to go on in the first boarding slot, which is usually about 1:30, 1:45. So we're usually amongst the first on board now.
Right. So is that a bit like Crown and Anchor on Royal Caribbean?
A little bit. It's a bit more straightforward. They don't have as many tiers, and it's a lot easier. It was typically a lot easier to get into, but to get into the top level now, it was different before. You just had to do 2 sailings in 2023. Now you've got to do 5 sailings, period. So once you've done your 5th voyage, I think it's either from your 5th or from your 6th. I can never remember because they just recently changed it. But you have to have completed 5 voyages, and then you get into Deep Blue Extras. There's a new lower tier called Blue Extras, where you get some of the perks, but all of them. So you don't get priority boarding until you've done your 5th voyage, and then I believe it's from the 6th one onwards you get your priority boarding. Right. You get 2 coffee credits a day, so you get to have 2 premium coffees a day. You get $100 bar tab per person as well who's in the club to have on board, and you get invited to a cocktail sail away as well. And you get a bag of laundry if you wanted to do that each voyage, and you also get 1 pressed item per person as well. So if you want to press a shirt or something, you can do that for free.
Oh, that's really good then. So there's quite a lot of benefits.
Yeah, definitely. It's becoming a bit of a and premium Wi-Fi. So it's become a bit of a reason why we book or sail so much with Virgin, because to lose all of those perks to go with somebody else at the moment is a bit of a sting type of thing when you're used to being kind of treated a bit like rock stars on Virgin, even though we don't book rock star level.
Yeah, definitely. So what ship are you on? Because you know me and Virgin, it's like I just not on my fault plan, so I don't get it. So what ship are you on, and what are the changes? Are there changes?
Yeah, so you can't really tell the ships apart from the outside. They all look identical, and the layout is identical on all the ships as well. So all the eateries, the venues, and all that stuff is the same. But we're currently sailing on Scarlet Lady, which is the original Virgin ship. She is coming to her dry dock literally the end of this month. So this is, I think, the last but one voyage before her dry dock. So they are making some changes. Typically in the past, it was very easy to say they're identical. They've got the same eateries. They've got the same layout. They've got the same venues. It was really easy. The biggest difference was the entertainment and the shows on board. So the headline shows would be different by each lady's ship. But from the end of this month onwards, when she comes out of dry dock to go do a Caribbean season, one of the eateries on board, Razzle Dazzle, which is kind of a vegetarian American diner style venue, not American diner, American comfort food, I should say. She's getting changed now to become Lucky Lotus by Razzle Dazzle. So it's still going to have a very similar, they're giving it new furniture, but she's going to have a very similar design aesthetic to it still. But it's now going to be an elevated Chinese restaurant rather than an elevated vegetarian and American comfort food restaurant. So that's really big. It's going to be the only ship now with its own eatery, whereas all the other ships will have the same 6 eateries. One of the coffee shops is getting turned into a lounge. So during the daytime, she will still be a coffee shop. But then in the evening, she's going to be a late night lounge, so it'll be more quiet. Because my only issue with Virgin is all the lounges are very loud every night. There's always live music playing, and they're quite close to each other. So I think it'll be quite nice to have somewhere, and it's quite high. It's by the galley, the buffet area. So it'd be quite nice to have a quieter lounge where you can just go and sit with friends and have a cocktail rather than having to sit in a venue where there's always live music of some sort.
So because I just can't even envisage what they look like inside these ships. I just can't. So for anybody like me that is curious, so you've got a video tour, haven't you? Can you not link that to this podcast?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And it's a long tour. I am debating whether to do like a micro cut, because people seem to really enjoy the 10, 12-minute versions of the tours I do as well. But because I love Virgin so much, I kind of overindulged and I was pointing out everything. But yeah, I have a 40-ish minute tour and it's kind of a hypercut of all the ships, because I took the best bits of the different ships and pointed out the subtle differences between them. But yeah, I'll link that down below in the chat as well, or the blog post with it, because then there's also a photo tour as well as a video tour on that blog post as well then. So you can have a little look around the ships. But I really like the design of the ships. They've got a very kind of contemporary boutique style. A lot of the furniture doesn't look very expensive, but when you check the price tag on it, it is incredibly expensive. It's all done by famous designers, interior designers. One of the footrests in one of the restaurants I was looking at was $500 each. So it's one of those. But I think that tells a sign of it's not very, some people say it looks really tacky. I think it looks really stunning, really elevated, very, very tasteful. Everything is designed with a lot of thought and consideration to it. Like now this is my cabin now, and you can see the curtain behind me. So there's a curtain and a net. But when the net's closed, you can see the 2 tiers now. The top is kind of like a scarlety purple color, and the bottom's blue. But when you close them and you're laying in your bed, it actually mimics the kind of horizon you can see.
Right.
So the blue makes the sea look a deeper blue, and then it makes the sky look like a scarlet night. So there's lots of little subtle details like that, and you can just see it swinging. If I go the other way, you can just see the hammock there swinging. So every sea terrace comes with a hammock on board Virgin Voyages as well. So just little nice touches like that that just kind of put it a little bit elevated above some of the other brands.
You wouldn't get me on that hammock. I have serious hammock. What's the PTSD? I once fell off one in a bar.
And it's surprisingly easy to get onto.
I sat on this one sideways, and there was like a steel drum behind it, and fell backwards, hit my head on the steel drum, and knocked myself out.
No way.
I've never been near one since.
Oh my God.
I had concussion, like really big.
I do actually have a whole video.
Yeah, so I was in Icos Resorts, Greece the week after, and I've never had a headache like it. It was awful, really bad. But yeah, knocked myself clean out, falling off a hammock. So I wouldn't be trusting that.
Really, these look really complicated to get into. Like the first sailing, I was a bit like, I don't understand. This isn't a normal hammock. It's not like a banana hammock that you sit into. It's more like a seat, and then you kind of extend it in front of you with a seat type of thing. So it's easier than it seems. But yeah, the first time you get, you're like, I don't understand it. But like this is a sales thing, but like the hammocks are by a company called Yellow Leaf, and they're actually a charity or kind of a social responsible program. So all the hammocks are hand woven by women in Thailand and Indonesia. So it's all about giving money back then to those small communities as well, so that those women then are empowered to kind of take ownership at their own and give them kind of their own businesses. So even all the hammocks have a really good social responsibility tie back as well to other communities around the world. So I think it's really great that Virgin have gone out of their way to find little things like that they can do that elevate the experience on board, but they also tie back to some really great charities and programs as well.
That's really good. So what's your highlight of the ship so far?
I love, like, so last night we had Scarlet Night, and we've talked about Scarlet Night before. I think it comes up all the time. It is kind of like the Virgin Voyages highlight deck party, and I just love it. It's such a great show. It's bonkers. I think we've tried to explain it to you so many times, and every time you're like, it just sounds crazy. I'm like, but it is. It kind of is crazy. Like, there's no way to avoid it. But it is hard. It is just a kind of ship-wide party. So like whereby MSC have White Night, other cruise lines have their theme party night. Scarlet Night is the Virgin Voyages equivalent. There is a storyline behind it. It's all about kind of the octopus goddess and how she grants us safe passage through the seas on Scarlet Night. And it's a really touching, tragic love story. I love so much about Virgin. There's a lot that, for me at least anyway, it feels like the things I love about cruising and this style of cruising I love, I feel like they've rummaged around my head and gone, let's build a cruise ship based on that. It's very technological advanced. I just literally said, as we weren't filming, we just paused briefly, and I almost fell over trying to turn the aircon down. And then I realized that I literally have right next to me the tablet that controls all the aircon in the cabin. And I know Celebrity do something similar whereby you can control it yourself from your own tablet. From your own smartphone. I can't even turn this on now. It's going to be a really bad demo. There we go. But this tablet here is kind of in your cabin, and it controls the whole cabin. So it includes the TV. So all the films, the on-demand films are kind of on the tablet. So you can just scroll through and pick it. You've got your local news stations. If you want to order, not necessarily room service is done via your mobile. But if you want to kind of ask for extra water in your cabin, you need to have your room serviced, all that type of stuff. To control the lighting, the aircon, it's all done via the tablet as well. So you can just put this by your bedside each night, and then you can even open and close the blinds as well. So it's going to make it look really dark. But if I push it now, there, so it'll close the blinds, and you could do that then from, the lighting's probably going to get better actually, and open them as well. So just lots of little touches like that again. So it's really kind of, there's a lot of technology hidden away in the cabin, but just around the ship as well. I think they've just done a really beautiful design. It's really relaxed, and I love that style of cruising type of thing. There's no pressure to do anything. You're not first seating, second seating. There's no first show, second show, which can create a bit of a scheduling nightmare, because if your dinner clashes with the show, then you've missed it. It's kind of, you can't see it unless you watch it another night. So it can make like that whole cruise just go dinner, watch a show schedule completely out of the window. But on the flip side, I kind of like that there's always something happening. There's always something new to do. And there's lots of shows and pop-ups and things like that. It's just a really lovely kind of no pressure, no stress way to cruise.
Oh, that's really good. And you get free water, which I like. That's really good. Because
Yep, they just topped it up again this morning now as we went out for breakfast. They've come in and topped it up again.
Some cruise lines would rather you die of thirst than... But no, I like that. So come on, tell us about Rome.
Well, I was going to say, so this all started, this is a cascade of issues with this itinerary. So not necessarily, none of this is Virgin's fault. It's all kind of the weather and third-party factors, but it just caused issues on this voyage. So the first issue we had is, obviously, we've got this hurricane that's happening off the coast of kind of the Atlantic. That's created a really bad weather pattern in the Mediterranean. So this all started where our second port of call, so Toulon was a bit grey, and we stayed on the ship because we've been to Toulon before, and we were like, we knew the next 2 days were going to be kind of port intensive for us. So day 2 is Marina de Carrera, which is kind of near Pisa ultimately. So a more common port that people may know is La Spezia. So it's just a bit further down basically from La Spezia. So it's kind of in that Cinque Terre region. So I was just determined that second day anyway, port day, to go out and do Cinque Terre, because I've always wanted to do it and we've just never really worked out how to do it. And we got called off basically because of the rain. There was 50 miles per hour winds off the coast of Italy, and the captain was like, it's probably best if we don't go anywhere near Italy. So we stayed outside Toulon in the rain, and it was to allow the rain to get ahead of us. And then we followed the rain in afterwards. So we had kind of like a sunny-ish afternoon, but the daytime was completely grey. It looked like nighttime outside. It was really bad weather. So Marina de Carrera was cancelled. which then the captain decided then the following morning to add an extra port on. So we were going to Ajaccio instead. Now, Ajaccio is on the other version of the Irresistible Med, and it's one of my favorite ports. It's a beautiful port in Corsica, and it's really easy for my style of cruise port, where you can just step off the ship and you're in the town. There's cafes everywhere. There's a beach nearby. You don't have to go very far to enjoy yourself. And I love ports like that. So Ajaccio is definitely one of my highlights of kind of a Mediterranean itinerary. So it was great that that was on. We didn't get off the ship again there because, again, we've done Ajaccio before, but we've also booked a load of stuff on the sea day that it was originally. That just clashed, and we couldn't move it because of how kind of limited brunch, boozy brunches, and we did boozy painting as well. So we went to kind of the painting class with the artist and did kind of, the champagne and painting class. So this is our Scarlet Night and Salute to the Moon we did in part of the painting class. So we had like loads of things like that planned for the day. So we were like, we're just going to stay on. But the highlight of this itinerary is the and Rome bit of the Irresistible Med. So yeah, you do get a day at Rome. Obviously, in the way that cruising works, they say and Rome. However, you are berthing an hour away in Civitavecchia, which Civitavecchia is a nightmare to get to anyway, regardless type of thing. And you've done the Rome to Civitavecchia to board your cruise, haven't you? And we've done an episode on kind of boarding from Rome in general.
Yeah, and it is a nightmare.
So we were trying to do that as a sea day or as a port day even, and get into Rome from the port and back to the ship. And spoiler alert, it didn't happen. We're on the ship, so obviously we made it back, but we didn't make it back on time. But because of the itinerary change, the captain decided to call all aboard 3 hours early, which I'm not convinced was the right choice, because for most of the people on this sailing, Rome was the highlight. So we were meant to all aboard at 10, but we ended up all aboarding at 7:30. Now, that's not why we were late getting back to the ship anyway. We left Rome at what time? 4:45 to get a 7:30 all aboard time. So we gave ourselves 2 hours basically to get back to the ship. Our first train that we were sat on was cancelled as we were on it. So we were told to get off and get onto a different train. We then got on that train and we were held up outside one station for 15 minutes. Then the second station for another 15 minutes, at which point then there was an announcement in Italian, which all the other cruisers who were sailing MSC were saying, oh, basically, if you go to Civitavecchia, get off and go to Terminal 6. There's now going to be a direct train to take you to Civitavecchia instead. That train never turned up. So we were abandoned at some random train station that we in the middle of Rome that we were like, oh, okay. And time was ticking and ticking and ticking. And I was like, it's an hour and a half until all aboard time, and there's no train. The next train that was due to come would have got us in at 26 minutes past 7, so 4 minutes before all aboard time. So we were on the ship, and the ship were like, yeah, not a problem, just get here as soon as you can. As soon as you get to Civitavecchia, get a taxi and just get over. They knew this was going on because obviously there was hundreds of people who'd done the same thing as us, basically. They were all trying to get back. So we were kind of not safe. We were a little bit confident knowing if it was just us, we'd be screwed. But there are hundreds of people basically stuck in various different parts of this journey. Regardless, anyway, that train didn't turn up. It was late. So we just had a full-on meltdown panic attack. We run out to get an Uber. The first Uber we ordered picked us up, said he was going to collect the order. But then basically we could see him kind of where the train station is here, say like to the north. We just seen him driving south further and further and further away from the train station. So it was a 5-minute pickup, a 10-minute pickup, 20-minute pickup. And when I saw the 20 minutes, my heart just sank because then the arrival time changed to 8:30. And I was like, we're going to be an hour late for all aboard time. Like, we're going to be left here. So me and Phil just had a mini breakdown outside the train station, hyperventilating and everything. So I cancelled that one and then ordered an Uber Black. Don't ask me why. That was just that was the next available one. Because I was like, if he's going to pick up again, that same guy, he's not going to get this there. So we ordered an Uber Black, and bless him, the driver could see we were distraught, and he was just like, I will get you there as fast as I can. So a journey that should have got us to Civitavecchia at 8:10, we arrived at 20 to 8. He managed to claim back half hour on the train. Literally, I'm not naming him. Probably if you're on my Facebook, you can probably see his profile. But we were in the back of the car like, I don't want to tell him to slow down, but I'm pretty sure we're breaking some laws here.
God. So how many, because I know when you messaged, you said that hundreds of people were later than you, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, so when we got back to the ship, we then found out there were 300 sailors who were stuck after all aboard time. So 300 sailors not on the ship at 7:30 and 47 crew not on the ship by 7:30 as well. So, the ship can take 2,700 sailors and we're at full. We're pretty much at 2,600 this voyage. So that's a lot of people who are stuck on land. So what we were told by the crew is it's not an official rule, but generally if there's more than, say, 50 sailors stuck because of a broken down train or something, if they can, they will typically wait because that's a lot of people basically to kind of not get back. If there literally is one or two, they won't wait for one or two sailors. They will just go. And bless him, and we still haven't heard from him in the Facebook group for this voyage, but somebody did post a picture of the poor guy stuck at the terminal watching the ship go past, kind of like,
oh no.
So we think, as far as we know, two people got stuck and got left, basically.
God. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like sometimes, and you know that I'm an absolute advocate for doing it on your own all the time, but there's certain ports that I just wouldn't take the risk with. So we're doing Drac Caves. I don't know if is it Malaga or I can't remember, but one of the Spain ports. And it was just over an hour away. And I said to Chris, sometimes you've just got to book the trip. Because when we started looking at Ubers and
100%, yeah.
And because you can like do mock bookings, can't you, and stuff. And I said to Chris, I don't think this is going to be worth it. I think it's one of them where we're going to be more reliable to actually get on the trip. Yeah, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
It's something that we're probably going to feed back quite aggressively to Virgin because they have a shore thing. So Virgin call their port adventures, shore excursions, shore things. There is one that is a coach basically from the ship to Rome, and it's $100 per person. And before we got on the ship, I said to Phil, like, I've heard so many horror stories about getting from Civitavecchia to Rome. I think I'm willing to pay the $200. And unfortunately, it sold out. We're not sure how many coaches. It could have just been one or two. And it is literally just that. They just get you and drop you off at Rome Termini. So it's a lot of money when you know the train is €10. But I said to Phil, like, just knowing that if anything goes wrong, there's a traffic breakdown, a traffic jam, a protest, whatever, it's Virgin. We're on a Virgin shore thing. As long as we're back at Termini by the time, we'll be covered. So we're going to feed it back and just say, knowing how tricky Rome and Civitavecchia is, maybe you should consider offering more of that shuttle service rather than just the one or two you did run. Because I probably, knowing now what I know anyway, and I will definitely be recommended aggressively moving forward. But I think having done other shore things with Virgin, just knowing that you're covered and sorted, particularly when you're going far. If you're going more than an hour's drive away from the ship, I probably would definitely recommend now 100% paying that premium and just booking a shore thing or a short excursion.
Definitely, unless it's easy to get back and you're like in the day with Rome, I think they're quite reliable. But I suppose once you hit tea time, then it's probably less reliable. I mean, they're more reliable than our trains. That's definite. But yeah, maybe it's because of the time of day that they prioritise people that work, and if there's a train down, they're going to look after obviously Italian commuters, aren't they, before cruisers? But then you'd think that it brings money into the city as well. So it's a tricky one. But
we never got to the bottom as to what the problem was. We don't know whether it was a protest, whether it was a breakdown, the line was blocked, but nobody knew what went wrong. But basically, people who were on the 412, so they got on the 412 train from Rome, they arrived onto the ship at 8:43. So it took them 4 hours pretty much to get.
So how?
Because they got stuck. Basically, they were stuck in a tunnel. So they were the train ahead of us, and this is why our train got cancelled. Their train was stuck somewhere. Don't know why. They still don't know why. They were on the train, and they were never really told why they were held. But they were in a tunnel for 45 minutes at one point.
That's a long time.
Then they were stuck somewhere else. Then basically, and apparently this happens quite a lot with the local taxis in Civitavecchia, they don't like the local bus service that takes you from the cruise terminal to the train station. So apparently, knowing the drama that had gone on, and the taxi were thinking, we're going to clean up now with all these like people rushing to get back to the ship. Apparently, and I've only heard this via other people, like Chinese whispers on a cruise ship you get, but 2 taxis blocked in the coach that was transferring people from the train station to the cruise terminal, saying, no, you've got to get off and pay the taxis. So they were held up for 40 minutes as well. So Virgin were trying to negotiate with the taxi drivers to get them to move, and they wouldn't move because they were like, we could all be earning €6 a drive rather than you paying So, like, apparently that was another issue as well. There was some sort of local issue and drama, and apparently, speaking to others, it's a known problem with Civitavecchia. The taxi drivers and buses, sorry, are a bit of a loggerheads with each other over who should be doing that journey.
So, how much did it cost you?
With the tip we gave him, €273.
So, in theory, you've obviously got a lost port day, and you can claim that on your travel insurance, surely.
It's what we're going to look into when we get back. We're not sure how it works because, yeah, I don't know what with that cover. I've never looked into it. I haven't purposely booked lost port insurance, so I don't know whether mine does include it or not. I need to check into it, but I know there are policies. And you've got a really good blog, haven't you, on your website for UK listeners about kind of good travel insurance companies to work with that do offer missed port. And I think Emma Cruises is a big advocate as well of it with the number of cruises she does about getting missed port cover.
I'd never, ever cruise without, well, just all the different covers. You've got to have maximum, haven't you? But yeah, I think you've got to have for a cruise, you've got to have the right company, haven't you, to cover the insurance just for the repatriation in itself.
We definitely do have cruise cover for things like repatriation, medical, all that type of stuff. But I haven't checked my policy to see if we've got missed port cover. I need to have a little look. I don't think we've got that, but we've definitely got, like I think it's 2 million you need repatriation back to the ship and all that type of stuff. We've got all that cover, but I haven't looked for missed port and if whether or not we're going to look into when we get back, whether or not we can claim that taxi journey back or not.
As long as you've got your train tickets, I'm sure that's evidence, isn't it?
I think so. That's what we're hoping. We're going to look into it. Like, I don't want to dwell on travel insurance, but it is such a big deal. And I've had two, without going into it for customer purposes, but protect their identity, I had two customers who were meant to travel this week who weren't able to take their trips. And the only way to claim on those two trips now is travel insurance. I can't claim that money back. My ATOL license doesn't cover it if you can't take your trip. It only covers you if we go out of business or if the cruise line goes out of business. It doesn't protect you if you have a personal injury or you have a family emergency that you can't take your trip. That is solely on your travel insurance because you are choosing not to take the trip. And the biggest misconception is that travel insurance covers you when you're away. Travel insurance covers you the second you book your holiday. So again, I can't stress this enough, and I tell customers so many times to book your travel insurance as soon as possible because it covers you before you go away. If you have a major illness or a major condition, that means you can't get a refund for your holiday, and we will always try our best to refund what we can. But if you cannot get a refund, your travel insurance is what will pay you out, not the travel agency or the travel company.
I know someone that's happened to that. They in their mind they got their travel insurance the week they travelled, and they couldn't travel for illness and lost the lot. And it's like, no, you've got to get it the day you book it. When you book it, I like to have it before I book it so that I'm covered. And then if anything happens, but yeah. So what's next then? So when do you get off the ship? Is there any more ports?
Yeah, so it's a Sunday to Sunday loop. So we're on a sea day today. We're not on a sea day. This is what I call the faux sea day. So yesterday should have been a sea day, but we got the replacement port. Today is with the faux sea day. So we're currently making our way to Ibiza, and we arrive into Ibiza around about 6 p.m.-ish. So it's kind of cool. I really love this itinerary because you're coming into Ibiza typically as kind of the sun setting or kind of the sun is getting low in the sky type of thing. The DJ's normally playing like on the pool deck type of thing, and it's just really kind of magical sailing into Ibiza kind of as the sun's coming down. You sail into the old town, the DJ's playing kind of those Ibiza kind of club songs, not like full on like clubbing songs, they're more like Ibiza beach club vibes, and it just feels like something special and sexy that you're coming in on this kind of super yacht cruise ship. Feels a little bit boutique and a bit kind of, I hate the word bougie, but you feel a little bit bougie coming in as you're coming into Ibiza as the nightclub's about to all start opening up, and you get that thing that you get to go for an evening meal into the old town of Ibiza. If you want to, you could just have a few drinks around the old town. Some people are going out to the mega clubs. They're going to Pacha and places like that because we spend the night as well in Ibiza. So we don't leave then until Saturday around about 4 p.m. in the afternoon as well then. So if you want to go out to the mega clubs and stay in them until sunrise, you totally can. Some people like us will tend to go out just the old town, have a couple of social drinks. I say social, the last 2 times we've done this, we've been back on the ship at 4 a.m, so Ibiza gets a hold of you. But But you can totally choose that. Some people stay on the ship. They make the most of the ship being quiet for the evening. And then they'll go out the following day, maybe do some shopping in the old town. They'll go to one of the markets, maybe find a beach club the following day and spend kind of Saturday then relaxing on the beach somewhere in Ibiza as well. So it gives you kind of that choice of how you want to do Ibiza, whether you want to hit it hard or take the best of the beach chill vibe that you can get on Ibiza as well.
That's amazing. That's a really good. I can't think. I've never done a cruise where you go in at night. Yeah, it's really good. Well, apart from river cruises, do that.
It's a cool feature of this itinerary. It's unique to Virgin, as far as I know. Don't quote me on this. It's unique to Virgin. They've done it for the last 2 years, and pretty much this ship has done 7 nights round trips, and every single Friday, Saturday has had a call into Ibiza with an overnight. Next year and the year after, it gets a bit tricky because the itineraries, and it's a good thing for sailors because the itineraries are really mixing it up now next year. They've done the same thing repeatedly for 2 years now with Virgin. Next year, the ships are going everywhere. I like to explain them as kind of like cats, herding cats going all over Northern Europe, the Mediterranean, the Adriatic, like they're zigzagging back and forth. So it's what a lot of us have wanted because like these itineraries are great, but once you've done 2 or 3 of the same itinerary, you're like, okay, cool, I'd like to go back on Virgin, but do maybe a longer 10-night sailing, or maybe go from kind of the Mediterranean down to the Adriatic, maybe. They've always been popular for the few times they've done them at the tail end of the season to get the ships to the different kind of regions. But next year, based on feedback of how popular they've been, there's a lot more longer sailings where maybe you can do Barcelona and touch Santorini, which they've never done before apart from repositionings. But there's a couple of zigzags. We've got one doing the Iceland next year. So they're going from the UK up to Iceland and then back from Iceland back down again. There's a lot of like really cool, unique itineraries next year rather than these kind of shuttled. But they're great. I'm not knocking these. I've loved these 7-night sailings, but they're doing a lot more than just the 7 nights around the Meds next year.
It's funny because I've just published an article on MSN today why a short cruise isn't necessarily the best option, and that's the same. 7 is short enough. Like 3-night cruise, just no.
Yeah.
Because you're just not getting to explore the ports, are you, and enjoy the ship. And
it's not enough. Like we've been talking about it quite a lot on this ship because the entertainment on the different ships is very different, and they all have their different kind of party nights, theme nights, and this, that, and the other. And this ship, being the original ship, didn't launch with a lot of the newer shows. She's got kind of a lot of the original shows, and I don't think Virgin kind of hit the nail on the head with kind of what a night looks like on Virgin. But we were saying it's actually quite nice because it gives you that ups and downs. It's not like where it's party. You kind of got a really good party night. You've got a chilled party night. You haven't got a party night. You've got a show instead, the one night type of thing. So it's not all just party. It's nice peaks and troughs. And then you've got your port days. You've got your sea days. There's a really nice pace. And like you say, you get that time to really kind of enjoy your port and go. What we love about cruising is the fact that it takes us to incredible destinations, but you also then get time as well just to relax, enjoy the ship as well, whether it's skipping a port day because then the ship's empty, or you've got the sea day so you can relax and make the most of kind of the if you've got it. We're lucky today now, it's sun's come out, but if you've got really nice sun, then to enjoy kind of the pool area and the pool deck and that type of stuff.
I'm trying to like look behind you to see the sea moving. I love these episodes because I love the fact that no, I think it's just like actually. Oh no, you can see it now. Oh, it's focusing on it now. Yeah, I love these episodes.
I say if I move out of the way and the light isn't focusing on me,
yeah, then you can. It's just great that you can get that. Go on, you can.
The one thing I will say for Virgin in, I'll come back there. Like, it's just a 45-minute podcast of just the sea going past. Like that's the new episodes.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to stick my camera outside the window for 50 minutes and just film it as like an ASMR relaxation video. I'm like, wish you were here. It's the one thing I like about Virgin. They don't rush to get anywhere. The captain, unless he has to, well, and you can see like just how slow we're sailing. This sailing, we've had to make up time. So literally is the most I've ever heard the engines running on Virgin, because even in the Caribbean, even the Med, they don't like to rush to go anywhere. It's part of, they claim, their environmentally friendly program. So obviously the less the engines are running, the less emissions, the less fuel they're consuming. It's obviously a lot more efficient for kind of the environment and sustainability. So that's the not the sales, that sounds cynical, but that is the sales kind of environmental impact on it. But it makes for lovely cruising as well, though, because the ship's not rushing, you're not hitting the waves heavy, you are just gliding everywhere you go. And typically on a normal, when everything's going to plan, this is the pace we'll be sailing at, and we're pretty much gliding on our way now around, because obviously these ports aren't very far from each other. So the captain's just not in a rush. The stabilizers are on. You really feel the motion of the ocean. We are in a central sea terrace, so we're quite center of the ship and we're quite low down on deck 8. So I think from a motion sickness point of view, we're in as good as a location as you can get for a cabin. But I've been aft, I've been forward. And again, I really feel the ocean on Virgin because of how slow you sail.
Yeah, and I never really thought about it with Royal Caribbean before. I don't think they really do sail fast. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But I don't mind. I mean, we're central this time, aren't we, for our next cruise? But I don't mind being aft and forward because I actually really like the rocking of the ship when I'm asleep. I think it's lovely. Where some people hate that,
Same.
but for me, that's just like therapy almost. It's amazing.
I like being aft because you can feel the propellers, and it's such a weird thing, but it's like I know the ship's moving then if I can feel it, and I know when we're coming into port as well. So you can kind of feel the rudders doing their reversing motion and things like that as well in the mornings or the night times. So I kind of like having that like sensory feeling of knowing when the ship's kind of really moving and things like that. So I normally book us towards the aft of the ship typically.
I think Donna once said, I think it was a suite, and it was forward, but I think they were over the anchor. So when they dropped the anchor, it just reverberated. She said the noise was horrendous.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anyone having that problem on Virgin. I don't think many of the cabins on Virgin are that far forward. I'm pretty sure there's a secret bar you can get invited to that is where the anchor is. You can actually see the anchor in the bar, so it's quite cool if you get an invite to that. I think it's where the crew cabins are, which is not good for the crew, but good for sailors. I don't think there's many sailors who are near where the anchor is. I know on Disney, people were complaining about they could hear the anchor every morning, but I've never heard anyone complain about hearing the anchor on Virgin. But like I say, I don't actually know of any cabins that are that close to it. They're all a bit further away.
I don't know if it was Royal or Celebrity, not Celebrity, MSC. I don't know, but it was one of them. But I remember a messaging me saying, oh my God. I mean, they're pretty chilled, Donna and Darren, but she said that she weren't complaining, but she said the noise was quite bad. So I suppose it does happen. But so what's your plan for today then?
So today, so we're pretty much having, sorry, let me readjust myself. We're having a pretty chill day today. So I'm going to do some work, annoyingly. I was planning not to work this week, but blessing of the job at the end of the day, people still want to book and they've asked me to, and so I've got a few bookings and a bit of admin to do. We've added this voyage actually, and it's something I've never done before. Again, so I mentioned the Splash of Romance package. There's another package you can have called Splash for Your Bash, which is designed to be a bit of a celebration. So it's kind of designed for people, maybe you're getting friends together for a party or they're celebrating an anniversary or something like that. And it allows you a few extra perks as well. So we just thought, because we're celebrating kind of like 5 years of Magical Traveller, the winning the Virgin Award this year, a really successful year of sales, it just finally feels like time to kind of really just look back and celebrate where we've got to with Magical Traveller. So we just thought, why not? Let's just give it a go. And worst case scenario, I could turn it into a bit of a blog content or something down the line about it. Just because I get asked about it, I'm like, I honestly don't know because I've never done it and don't know many people who have. So it was $250, I believe. So we went through it as £200 basically when we booked it. And it includes a bottle of Moet. So that is $105 on the ship anyway to get a bottle of Moet. Now, I wouldn't be buying them left, right, and center anyway, but there's value in that. You get the boozy brunch, which is what we did yesterday. So you get bottomless mimosas or bottomless cocktails for your brunch session. So there's 2 hours basically. So we did that yesterday. So then the big element of it then is the celebration dinner basically. So tonight we have the Wake Book, which is the steakhouse on board the ship. That's where we had our brunch yesterday as well. But you get kind of cocktail pairing throughout your meal as well. Now, this is the bit that I'm waiting to see myself firsthand, but I've heard lots of stories from kind of Reddit posts. I've had to literally piecemeal together what this actually is. But people have said they've had a full bottle of cava to walk away with after the dinner. They've had like multiple toppings of champagne and things like that. You get like multiple cocktails throughout the dinner, but then all the dining on board Virgin Voyages is included, and they've got 6 main eateries. So you don't go to a main dining room, you pick one of 6 eateries on board: a steakhouse, an Italian, a Korean barbecue, test kitchen, which is like a molecular gastro science kitchen. I forgot which ones I mentioned: Pink Agave, the Mexican, and Razzle Dazzle, the American comfort food diner. There's no upcharge on them. There's no speciality charge for them. However, on each menu, they will have what they call a treat yourself.
Right.
So every single menu will have things you can pay for if you wanted to. So you can still have the filet mignon in the wake, but if you wanted to upgrade to a tomahawk steak, you can do. Don't ask me the price. I think it's about $65 to have the tomahawk. Or they've got the seafood platter, so you can have kind of like crab, oysters, just all kind of raw fish platter, basically. I've done that twice now, and I quite enjoy that. So when you do splash for your bash, that's included, basically. So you can have the treat yourself, the unlimited cocktails or however many cocktails, and the bottle of cava type of thing as part of that. And then they decorate your table. They give you a Polaroid camera. So it's kind of a nice way to mark the dinner, basically. So the debate is amongst the community of like regular Virgin fans of, is it worth the value for money? Everyone who's done it has always said, yes, it is. They had an amazing time. We'll find out tonight, basically, whether or not it is actually worth the money. So by the time this podcast comes out, there will be a link to the review for Splash for Your Bash, if anyone is interested, how it went down, because I don't know yet how it's going to go down.
Are you going to TikTok it while you're sober? But just so that you can say... Just little bits. It's
been the challenge this whole week.
Yeah.
We filmed yesterday, definitely, or we took some pictures. So I'm probably going to try to remember to do a bit of filming tonight to it as well. It depends how merry I get by then, or how merry we get through it. But I'm going to try and do a TikTok short as well about it if I remember to film the footage.
Brilliant. Oh, it's been really... I love these episodes. They're my favourites when we're on ship, on location.
Yeah.
And the next one we've got is mine, which is in 2 weeks. Well, it'll be 3 weeks. Yes. We need to book that in.
I know.
From on a transatlantic, which again is another different experience.
Yeah, definitely. And it's on an Oasis class yet, but I think it's your first Oasis class as well, isn't it? So I think it's going to be quite exciting to see how you feel about being in an Oasis class as well. And it's just coming on a dry dock as well. So we're actually going to have some of the first... feedback about the dry dock report as well from kind of Oasis this season as well.
And I've found, I mean, there's not much out there, but a few crew members have shared stuff, and they're definitely changing the carpets. And there's a video of one of the suites.
It's a big refresh. Yes, I think it was long overdue, wasn't it?
Well, that's what you saw in the groups, didn't you? But there's definitely like, in the corridor where the carpets had been ripped up on some of the. So I'm hoping that's on all decks. And then one of the loft suites that had all new furniture in it. So I think it's quite a big new mattresses. So I think even though they don't say, do they, unless it's a complete amplification, it looks like they're really refreshing her. So that's exciting.
And from what I've read online, a lot of people were saying her, and I think it's Harmony, isn't it? That's going next year for one. People are saying like, they kind of compared to now Wonder of the Seas and Utopia. Is it Allure next year, is it? They're saying like they feel like they look like they need...
Well, Allure's going for a complete amplification, which is Oasis did... Was it 5 or 10 years ago Oasis did a complete amplification?
I've not followed them until recently, so I can't remember any of the older stuff.
Yeah. That's why I want to do that cruise next year, that transatlantic.
So the first thing I want to say is the big message of the moment, because of just the ex-UK stuff with Virgin Voyages, where we've had those mini cruises from the UK. There's a lot of kind of talk out there about Virgin is nothing but a party ship. I just need to get it off my chest because it is irritating me. And literally, we just come off a sales call with Virgin this week, and they're equally saying like, yes, we have some of the best parties at sea. Yes, we have amazing 2-story nightclub. Yes, we have a lot of places to get drunk and enjoy yourself. It is not a party ship. Today, we are sailing in, beautiful calm waters. You can enjoy the pool deck. You can have a lovely time listening to Ibiza chill vibes. Yes, Virgin is a fantastic ship to go on for a party. It can equally be a beautiful ship to explore, beautiful destinations to have a really lovely, romantic, elevated experience as well. So I just want to get that out there because I feel like Virgin has a really bad reputation for being kind of like the posh carnival. And it's not. It's a really lovely, elevated way to cruise, as well as being a really great party ship as well. So I just want to get that off my chest. But if anyone is ever interested in sailing with Virgin Voyages or learning more about sailing with Virgin Voyages, because I have probably now over 50 different guides about different things, about the different itineraries, about the different kind of dining, a complete dining guide. I've got what to pack on Virgin. I've got so much information on our website, so you can kind of see both sides of it. You can see the party and the entertainment side. You can also see the elevated kind of relaxation side of Virgin Voyages as well. Check out my website. Just go to magical-traveler.com. Just click on cruises, Virgin Voyages. It'll take you to all the blogs and the content I got about Virgin Voyages. And again, if you want to find me on social media and see kind of all our past trips or when we are traveling, you can find me under Magical TRVLR as well on pretty much Instagram, Threads, Facebook, all of them. But I know, Sarah, as well, as I should have hunted down your Barcelona guides to make sure that I didn't make a rookie mistake and miss everything in Barcelona. But if people are trying to be better at traveling than their travel agent, where's the best place they can find all your port guides and information about cruises as well?
So you can find them on Cruising for All, Cruising with Kids, but also come and check us out. I think it's Cruising for All on TikTok, because we will be in Barcelona in 2 weeks. So, we've nothing on Virgin, but we've loads on the ports. So we've got Rome, how to get to Rome on the train the right way, but then obviously it relies on the trains, doesn't it? But yeah, you can find us all there.
Fab. Brilliant. Other than that, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this episode and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.